Hey, how's everyone doing? Okay. Okay. So what are we supposed to do today? We finished the course, so there's nothing new to learn, fortunately. Um, we could answer any questions, but what I'll start off with is uh, our final exam is Tuesday, 7:10 p.m. So it's a different time, different place. We are in Wexler 118A. In fact, let's look here. I guess I pull it up, right? So Tuesday, December 5th, Wexler A118, get it backwards. So I did put a little map. So this is where we usually are, SCOB, but you'll see Wexler's just a little bit further back behind there. Um, Actually, maybe later today I might actually go look because the room numbers are hard to find. Yeah. So and it's just up the street from so ECA. That's where my office is. I'm not there too often, but um, so anyway, I'll be there. I'll be in my office Tuesday night, probably from about 3 o'clock on. I've got a Zoom call I was going to do with my MAT171 folks um, from like 3 to 5. I could be available by Zoom if you want to, or you could just come into my office, ECA 339. So I'll put out a message about that. So as you're studying, if you get things, just get a hold of me. Um, we can get those questions answered, those answers questions, something like that. Uh, but then that's the basic, and we'll be done. What I have, the final exam is, I just got the other one, so I think it's 20 multiple choice questions with, don't remember, maybe 7 open answer type questions. Okay. What I'm going to do for the multiple choice is, and you'll see this tonight, the front page, I've got a Scantron. It's something called Zip Grader. That's an app, a phone app. So you'll just bubble those in, and you can use pen or pencil, but just your marks. What it allowed me to do is I'll be able to grade those with my phone real quick. So I'll get the multiple choice done like that night, hopefully, or the next morning. Um, and then I've got to go through and do the open answer ones. But I'll get those in, and I'm thinking I will break those into 2 pieces so that I can get the multiple choice to you back as soon as possible, and then get the open answer to you back fairly soon as well. Okay. Uh, oh, I also got an email. I was going to give some partial credit on a few on the exam one, and I got realizing that that's going to take too much. What I'm going to do is I've got some notes. I'll go back which ones I was going to do, and I will just add those half points to everybody. So I think it's going to be maybe like 7.5. It's either 5 or 7.5 points because they were half point for those. I'll just, so whatever score you have, I'm just going to add it to everybody. It's the only way I can, because I already said I would do it, but I can't do it because I don't have enough time. So I'll do it across the board. Okay, so you'll see a boost to your exam one scores as well. The nice thing about this app, I can actually put in partial credit as well. So I will look over the questions, and if there's some that are kind of like, this would have been a good answer, close, but it was half off, I'll have it so it will calculate partial credit as well. Uh, and it's very, I've used it at the community college, um, and it's really nice. And it allows me to, the other thing I can do is I can see if like there was 1 or 2 questions that were missed by like a huge, like only 25% got it right. I could say maybe that was a bad question. So I can make some on the fly adjustments real quickly with all that data, and I will do that. My goal is to get you as accurate and as high as a grade as I can get you, as you can, you know, assess. So we'll do all those things. Just be there for the exam. Um, just a backup if something happens. I'm also giving a final exam on Thursday night. So it's not sort of an open, oh, let me just take a Thursday instead. But if tire goes flat or you can't get here for some reason, we do have a backup, a limited backup, because that class is like 200 students. So there's not a lot of room, but contact me if something goes awry Tuesday night and you're not able to make it. We'll do what we can. Okay. So what you're going to want to spend your time doing, finishing up the homework. The homeworks should all be open. I will, let's see, this is Thursday. Over the weekend, I will update homework scores. And remember, I said if you've got 70%, I'll turn it to 100%. I'll do that as well. However, I'll leave because you may still want some more time, I'll leave the Pearson syncing, so they may update those grades. I can't control that. I will do a final update after the exam on Wednesday. So if you can get everything done, that would be great. I'm going to turn off the syncing just after the exam so that they won't update grades anymore. But I will go through and I'll put it in my spreadsheet. Again, as long as you have 70% of the points for any particular homework, you'll get all of the points. Okay. So do your best to get those where they need to be. And then for the final exam, the best preparation is this final exam review. One of the things it does show you is it shows you the formulas that will be provided. There's a template for the unit circle. There's all these trig, so that's on the front page. And then you've got your multiple choice questions, or well, no, these aren't multiple choice, but you have these types of questions. So I would go through, and these, they don't show you when you work through them what section they come from, but when you look at the answer key, it shows you what section they're coming from. So, I would at least look over these and, oh, I don't even remember what a domain is. No, you hopefully remember what that's what the X value, and remember we can't divide by 0. So, some of these, difference quotient, you don't, again, it doesn't give you the difference quotient, but remember that's f of what, x minus h plus f of x, or minus f of x. It's a slope formula. You might want to look that up, but that's something you're going to want to know. And you'll see that we don't provide the difference formula to you. Okay, so it kind of, as you go through here, it'll say, hey, and there's 3 examples here of doing it. So those are things you may want to take a look at. And when you look at the exam review for the previous, see, we've taken 2 exams, right? You'll see some of these are there. So I would review back over those as well. There's transformations. Notice this is all stuff that's before we even got into trigonometry, right? Compositions, inverse functions, know how to do those, quadratic functions, all of these different things, be able to know, finding zeros, dealing with rational functions that are, fractions. A couple of word problems there. Although I guess they do show, this is from 3.4, 2.6. So they do show where they're coming from. Logarithms, be able to work through those. And then we get into our trig section here with 4.5, finding amplitude, period, and phase shift. So these are all the trig type stuff that you're going to need to do. Verify trigonometric identities. Remember, working one side till it looks like the other. Solving some equations, again, and also, given which quadrant they're in, get those trig functions. Solving trig equations, and again, this one is just going from 0 to 2 pi. So these are more recent ones we've looked at. And then the last day, there's one question on law of sines, one on law of cosines. So that's what we just did this last Tuesday. And that's the review. And then we've got our answers here. Additionally, which is, this is good, you can check your answers. Additionally, there is a a solution guide, written one. This takes a little bit. We'll see if that, and this one, the coordinator actually went through. You might want to make it bigger, right? Kind of color coded and sort of works through them that way. Okay, so those are there. I will see what I've got going. I think this afternoon I may be able to put some videos in. So I will pull up the solution or the review form, and I'll make. Should I promise? I probably shouldn't promise, but I will try. I will say that I will try very hard to work each of those problems in the review, so in a video form, because that way you're getting. There's different ways of learning. One is sort of just reading. That's a visual, and that's a good provision for that. But some of us learn auditorially. We if we hear it, we understand it better, and so that's where I find the videos are very helpful. And it also sort of shows a flow. So I will make a solution video, and I'll probably break it into pieces so you can, if you don't have to watch the whole thing, but I'll break it into maybe 3 or 4 types of questions. So you can say, oh, I'm struggling with this one. Let me see how he explains it. And I'll try to work through them quickly, but with enough explanation that it makes sense. Okay. And if you're really stuck on one, maybe you go there first. But again, they're also, you want to try to go back through. This should be stuff that you've already seen and done. You shouldn't be learning it for the first time by going through the review, but sometimes that happens. But also, what you should hopefully see is as you go through this, hopefully you're making better connections or stronger connections than initially going through it. And that's really the purpose of testing, is it helps as you prepare for it to solidify what you know, because you're going to use all of this in your calculus class. And I do teach calculus as well, and what I find is students usually don't struggle as much with the new calculus concepts, sometimes a little, but the problem is they're struggling with the algebra and the trig that we have from here, right? They didn't, and there's this time frame, but it's kind of like algebra and trig are actually harder than calculus. Calculus involves you have to have all this foundation. The calculus parts are actually fairly easy. Most of calculus is you're adding one or subtracting one. Really, that's all it is. You'll see pretty soon. But so that's why we want you to have a good understanding, a good feel when working with algebra and trigonometry. And again, don't expect you to be experts, but this going back over should hopefully help bring everything back fresh. How many of you have already registered for calculus for next semester? A few of you. Awesome, good. That should be 100%, right? Because you want to take it as soon as possible afterwards. And again, on grades, I can't even remember what we're doing with this class. Do we have have I mentioned anything about it? I know my other class, they like the final replaces one of the other ones. I don't remember if we do anything for this. No? Okay, I didn't mention. But I do look at it. If you do better on the final than you did on one of the other ones, I like to take, hey, you learned by the end. I don't want to penalize you for not having learned it earlier. So I do look at those, and I do take the authority to give you a better score than the scores would give you. However, I don't give you a worse score. I don't say I don't like you very much, and okay, yeah, you got a 95, but I'm going to knock you down to an 85. No, I don't do that. But if you got your score say 85, but your last part is up at the 95, I'll say, yeah, there was this improvement. I'm not going to let the old stuff downgrade the new stuff. I want to take the new learnings that you've gotten. So if I can see progress in any way, I will reward that progress. Okay. So again, it's what you come out of this class with, not what you had at the beginning. Hopefully the reason you took this is you either didn't know the stuff, or it's been a while since you had it, and you needed the refresher. And hopefully now you've got that refresher, And it's all feeling pretty good. So we'll update that way. Any questions? Any requests? I don't do karaoke. Yes. The review? Oh, thank you. That's the Pearson reviews are extra credit. That's how I'm going to view them. So yes, um, yes. So there's the unit circle, and I put in, if you've done it, you've got 30 points, which should be about 3%. The reviews, let's make them another 2%. So 1% for the midterm review. Well, 2% overall for doing the reviews. I think they will help you with the exams as well. The one that will probably help you the most is the printed version, because that's how you're going to be taking it, right? You're not taking the exam on Pearson. If you were, then the Pearson review would be very helpful. But it's not bad. So what I can do is if you complete those, and again, when I say complete, you do about 70%, because I don't want to force you into doing things. You might look at things, I don't need to review that part. But if you can engage with the reviews in a meaningful way, we can get an extra 2%. And I they're probably currently in the grade book as sort of requirements. So I'll figure out how to do that part to sort of take them out and make them extra credit. Thank you for mentioning that. So reviews are all extra credit. Homeworks are there. If you have issues with recitation, contact our recitation person, Jasmine James, is it? I think. Yes. If you go into Canvas, go into People. I can show you this. Oh, it's blocked. That's why you can't do that. Let me change this. I'm going to move it where right under grades, and then I got to save it. Okay, so now right under grades, you'll see people, and that's available to you. If you go to people, you'll see all the people in the class. You can look for roles, and mine's in there. You could also just go to TA, and there you can email her now directly from Canvas. What's that? Yeah, it'll be a Canvas message. So it goes into Canvas, and it also, whenever you send one to me, it comes also to my personal email as well. Do you still have her this week? Because there's Thursday, Tuesday recitation. Yeah, all I can say is the same. That's the only way I have is access is email to her. So I would send it to her again. And there's the login ID. That's the email address. So you can also email directly. Yes. Okay. Oh yeah. So if you could also, if you went to recitation today, even though you may not be in the Thursday, if you follow the ones that do have the Thursday one, she will be there today. You could talk to her. Okay. But again, I don't have. She takes care of that part. I think it's like 20% of the grade, so that'll be there. I do the other part. I do post the final grade though, so but the recitation, I'll just take what her values are. Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, it's been a pleasure working with you. One thing I do want to leave you with is hopefully I've provided you with some good resources, but I also want you to know is any learning you've done is because of your efforts, right? Learning happens up here, so you have to be the one putting the effort. You're the one in control of your future by the actions you take, by being here regularly, or if you're not here, there's some that, watching the videos regularly, how, keeping in pace with things as much as you can. Sometimes we do things that, um, don't like, again, I think I talked about skillful and unskillful actions. Um, Sometimes though, the skillful action is to take a break, right? Talked about, make sure we don't get sick. If we're feeling, stressed and everything, sometimes we do need that break. So we've got to be skillful in our actions and everything, but it's our actions that determine our future. It's nobody, yeah, sometimes it's out there, they're blocking us or whatever, but we're the ones that control it. And so the actions we do is what's going to make our future. So keep doing what you're doing. You're here to make more opportunities for yourself, for your families, for your communities. So keep working at it. You're at the place where you can make whatever you want for your future, you can make it happen. But also, I remember my freshman year, I was trying to make my dad's dreams come true, not mine. They weren't mine. When I started making mine, it was like, it took me 2 years to finally figure out I wanted to be a teacher, not an engineer. Nothing wrong with being an engineer. So, nothing against you guys. Engineering's great. It just wasn't my dream. It was my dad's dream. So just make sure it's your dream that you're pursuing, not somebody else's. Because when you pursue your own dream, you'll have that power to make it work. When you're pursuing somebody else's dream, it's a lot harder. Although, like I said, I did that for 2 years. I tried it. Wanted to make my dad happy, but in the end, we got to if we make ourselves happy, that's what I learned. I finally made my dad happy by making myself that happy. He was a little pissed off because the way I did it, I tried to hide everything from him, right? But eventually, it all worked out. So that's just my 2 cents, and hopefully it helps. So I'm done. I think it's best for you to start working through there. I will, when I get a chance, maybe as early as today, try to get some video segments on the review posted so you can get working on that review for the final. If you do that, you'll be fine. There's, like I said, 20 of the questions are multiple choice. So there's a question, but we give you all the answers. Of course, we give you a bunch of wrong answers too. They got to pick through, but that's the 20 of them. And then there's some open answer ones. So, but if you go through this, you'll have hit on every type of topic that is going to be on the exam. Okay. And then we got the rest I've got a makeup exam about 10:15 I'll go back to my office for. But other than that, you're welcome to hang out here, work on homeworks, ask any questions that you might have, and or